Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Summer is almost over. That means deer season's right around the corner, and for those of you football fans, it's getting ready to start. So to celebrate, we are going to use the template of the month for September and make a cool little fall sign. As always guys, make sure to hit that subscribe button, hit the little bell icon. We're doing a bunch of big projects and we got some really big ones coming up that I'm stoked about. And also, make sure to drop a comment. Let us know what you guys think and if there's anything else you'd like to see. So nothing says fall like a little leaf, right? And we like this one because it's got a little bit of detail in there. Now, one thing that Dad and I struggle with on a pretty regular basis is just adding some color to our signs. To be honest, we're both pretty simple. We're not big on color, but sometimes it can add a lot. So we're gonna add a little bit of color to this sign, and I will leave a link in the description below for all the materials we use today. Let's make some sawdust. Doing your lettering in an arch can really add something extra to the sign. And I gotta say, these layout arches we have made that process so much easier. Once you get your line drawn, then all you gotta do is put your wording on there and make sure your spacing is right. Now, I have to add an apostrophe between the Y and the A in y'all. So you'll notice that that spacing is a little bit wider. That's something that's easy to forget, but if there's any punctuation, make sure you take that into account as you're laying out. We always try to do the hardest part of the sign first. That way you don't get a bunch of work done, then when it comes to the real difficult part, you mess it up and you have nice firewood. That's not what we want. So I use the carving liner at 1/8 of an inch deep, and one thing I found on this particular sign is that I actually get sharper, straighter lines when I start with the deep part and then feather my way out, as opposed to feathering my way as I drop into the wood. For some reason, that just gives a nicer, sharper line. Then I switch to the profile bit at 3/16 of an inch deep. Little side note here guys, I'll leave a link in the description for everything we're using today. Now this leaf has some really kind of small points to it that get kind of sharp. It's not hard to do, but it is really easy to just kind of go over those and make it more rounded. That would kind of mess this template up. You really want to get each one of those little sharp points to give it a more realistic look. I didn't have enough room to do a fat line on the outside with a 60 or 90, so I dropped the profile bit down to 1/4 of an inch to give it a good fat line. Not quite as bold as the 60 or 90, but it definitely did the trick. I'm just looking for more of a contrast between the artwork and the board itself. Then I switched to the 60-degree bit at 3/16 of an inch deep. Now these are 1.5" fatty font, and I know you guys have probably heard me say it before. The fatty font is super easy to carve because everything's curved. You don't really have to worry about any sharp points. This is my wife's favorite font for me to make her signs. Not that I do it as much as she wants me to, but it looks really good and it's super easy to carve. This is definitely the font that I would recommend to beginner carvers. Doing punctuation, apostrophes, and commas has always been a challenge for me. I honestly don't know why. It's just a hole with a little line attached. But I'm getting a little better at it. If you have that same issue, we do sell punctuation packets that make it a bit easier. Next, we use the black primer to spray the sign.
Again guys, do not overspray. You will definitely regret it because there's no sanding it out. Just do enough to cover all of the lettering and all the carving. Once that was done, I used the 80 grit on the disc sander to get 90% of the black off, and then I switched disc sanders and I used 120 grit to give it a good smooth finish. Well, that was stupid.
So guys, here's a little tip from me to you. This one's free. Before you spray, read the can, because then you just screw everything up.
So I should have used these markers before I put any clear on it. That was a mistake. It definitely would have covered better if it would have just been raw wood. But these little Tombow markers really went super fast and they actually cover really nice.
So there it is guys, this was a pretty fun little sign to carve. Now remember, if you want to have artwork on both sides but you only have one at a time, just make sure that wherever you set it, that you try it in different positions, because you're going to want to make sure that they're pretty centered. And once you spray, just spray the side with the template on it first, work your way halfway across, and then switch it and spray that side to the middle. We're going to be adding some more color to our signs, so make sure and let us know what you guys think. If there's something you want to see, one thing I want to try to work with is that unicorn spit. We did a little bit of it before, but weren't too impressed, but that probably had more to do with my lack of skill with it than anything. So we got some great stuff coming up, guys. We'll see you on the next one. Bye.